everyone, it's Christina from the Glaser Tutoring Company, and today we're going to solve a system of equations with decimals. Ooh, we got this though, right? Now, a system of equation is a fancy way for saying, hey, look, I have two equations, right? Two or more equations in a question, that's a system of equations. Nothing more, nothing less than that. So by us listing out more than one equation, that's the system. Now, in this case, we have to solve for the system. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I look at the x coordinates, right, or not even a coordinate, but the x variable and the y variable, and they're both in each equation, and they're both raised to the first, that means that both of these are linear lines. If you have an x and a y, they're both raised to the first, you have a linear line. And the solution, or to solve this, would be if here's one equation and here's the other one, right? That means that x marks the spot. The solution, or the solving, is that point that they intersect. It's the only point, right? Because they're linear lines, they're straight lines. So if they're different lines, there will only be one point that they will cross paths with. That's what you're trying to solve for. So we're trying to solve for the x and the y value. So we're trying to find out the x value, comma, the y value. And would you look at that? Both of these have x values and y values in them. But how do we do that? Well, we can't just solve for x plus y equals something, right? Usually we always have x equals or y equals. So if that's the case, I got to get rid of one of these variables. Now, there's many different ways. There's substitution, addition, elimination. Always look out for the substitution method first, because it's probably the easiest one. But usually you'll do substitution if you just see that you already have an x equal or a y equal value. But for all of my x's, I have a number in front of them. So probably substitution method isn't going to work here. That's okay. Addition or elimination. Now, the easiest way is for addition and elimination, you have to make either your x values being the same numbers or the y values being the same number. Doesn't matter if they're positive or negative sign. That's the difference between addition and elimination. But just the number has to be the same. And choose the one that you can manipulate the easiest for you. So for me, I look at these 2's and 3's and I say, well, I can make them being the same because I know that I could just multiply this number by 2 and this number by 3 and I'll get the same number. You could do the same thing with this one, but maybe spotting out the 2's and the 3's might be a little bit easier for you. So let's call this equation 1 and let's call this equation 2. And for equation 1, if I want to make these the same, I'll times the top one by 3. And the bottom one, since I want to try to make it into a 6, right? Because that's what 2's and 3's have in common, the 6. I'll times this by 2. But you got to be fair. You have to multiply all values in equation 1 by 3. And you have to multiply all values in equation 2 by 2. So let's go for it. Equation 1. 3 times 0.1 is 0.3. So that would be 0.3x plus 0.2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. I move the decimal over 1, so that would be 0.6y. And then 3 times 2 is 6. Done for that. Equation 2. Isn't this so much fun? It's fun with the study buddy. Equation 2. 35 times 2 is 70, right? 35 and 35 is 70, but now it's 0.35, so this would be 0.70. You could also just put a 0.7 if you want in there. Maybe that might help you out because the other one is just a 0.3. So go for that. And now this is a negative, so this would be a minus 2 times the 3, that's the 0.6, and that's the y value. And then 2 times 0 is just 0. Okay, now here it comes. Am I going to add these two values together or subtract? Now think about it. It's a positive 0.6 and a negative 0.6. Do I add those two values together or do I subtract them so that this would cancel out? Yeah, you got it. You would add these because one's already positive and one's already negative. By adding, this is the addition method. Some teachers or professors, they call everything the addition method. Some of them call everything the elimination method. So it doesn't really matter what method you're talking about. Me personally, if you're adding them together, it's addition. If you're subtracting them together, it's elimination. But the idea at the end of the game is to just get rid of one of your sets. So in this case, we're going to be adding these two together. And always work with, your 3 sets at a time. You got to add all 3 of these up. So let's see. 0.3 plus 0.7, that's just 1. So that would just be an x value. Now in this case, positive 0.6 minus 0.6, this goes bye-bye. How easy is that? And then you have on the other side, 6 plus 0 is 6. And look at that. Look how easy that was. You actually have your x coordinate right off the bat. You don't have to do any other simplification. So we know that the x value is going to be 6. Now, we got to go back and solve for the y. How do we do that? Well, use the easiest equation that looks easiest to you, right? I see that here I got a 0.35. I don't really want to deal with that. So maybe we'll use equation number 1. And all you're doing is now, instead of plugging in for x, you know what the x is. So 0.1 times, what was x? X was 6. And solve now for your y. 0.2 times y equals 2. And now let's just do our math, right? 0.1 times 6, this would be 0.6 plus 0.2y. And then this equals 2. So we want to get x by itself, y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 0.6 on both sides. So the 6 will cancel out here. You have 0, and maybe I'll put a line here. You have 0.2 y equals 2 minus 0.6 is 1.4. And now divide on both sides by 0.2. Right, 0.2 and 0.2. Now, let me just get rid of that. This goes bye-bye. And I know that 14 divided by 2 is 7, right? And they both have the decimal over. So if I move this decimal here, this decimal goes over here. Whatever you do to the top, you got to do to the bottom. So this is the same thing as saying 14 divided by 2. So y equals 7. That's like a cool little trick. And now I have the y value. So I have my coordinate point, my ordered pair. So where these two lines intersect, if I go over the x at 6, go up to 7 on the y value, that is where these two lines will intersect. And that, my friends, is the solution to this problem. And that's it. I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for viewing the video. Subscribe to the channel. Also go to our website, glasertutoring.com. We've got tons of goodies for you that you might, like over there. Study guides. If you're in any AP class, we got you covered. Regents, high school, college, go over there and check it out. We also open memberships up on the channel if you want to be a member, if you want to help us out a little bit more. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Keep studying hard, not only in math, but in all your subjects. I believe in you guys, all right? Also, I would like to give a huge shout out to Maricela. Thank you so much for being a member to the channel. Your support means a lot to my brother and me, and we're thrilled to have you be a part of this amazing community. Memberships are open on the channel, and if you want to become a member, just click that join button, which can be found below on any video if you're watching on your desktop, or it can be found on the overall channel page too. For all of you that want your name shown in the video, don't forget to choose the gold tier or higher. Thank you so much for considering, and have a great day. Talk to you in the next lesson. Bye-bye!